Tonight we're going to begin the meeting with my annual State of the Town address. And it is again an honor for me to speak to the Brighton community about the state of our town, particularly in this, our bicentennial year, to share with all of you the many successes of the past year, and to recognize and thank the people who are together responsible for those successes. I will also share with you my thoughts about Brighton's bright future and the exciting opportunities we can look forward to in 2014 and the years to come. Brighton is in the sweet spot as a community when it comes to the quality of our services and our willingness as a community to come together and engage with one another in a conversation about the vision for the future of this town. That does not mean we don't face challenges as a community. We do, and we will continue to face those challenges directly, together. We live in a world of limited resources, particularly for local government, and we will continue to operate in a responsible manner in the best interests of you, the taxpayers of Brighton, to develop and then carry out that shared vision of Brighton's future. As I noted, 2014 is Brighton's bicentennial year. We've already begun to celebrate this milestone with events such as our recent African American History event, Struggle Toward Freedom. Before the year is out, we will reenact Brighton's first town meeting, held in what is now the Stone Tolan House, back on April 5th, 1814. We'll hold an old-fashioned community picnic at Buckland Park on June 1st, and we'll celebrate our heritage as a canal town in August. But as we look back and celebrate 200 years of our history, what we're really doing is celebrating the people that have made Brighton the community that it is today. Now, we can also look forward confidently, knowing that although we can't see the future, we can prepare for it, plan for it, and together with the talented and energetic people that live in Brighton today, we can embrace that future and the opportunities it will bring us all. Truly, we build our future on the efforts of those that came before us, and by honoring and celebrating 200 years of Brighton's history, 200 years of people that have made Brighton such a special hometown for all of us, we lay the groundwork for celebrating the next 200 years. Wherever I go in the Rochester area, people tell me what a wonderful community Brighton is. They talk about our schools, our parks, our neighborhoods, our diversity. All of us that live here in Brighton know how true each of those points are. And the reality is that each of them is an investment in our future as a community and the future of our children and grandchildren. But we also know that what has made Brighton survive and thrive over the past 200 years are the same things that make it special today, our people. I never cease to be impressed by the time, the energy, and the passion that you, the residents of Brighton, put into this great community. For everyone that gives of their time and their talents, whether you do it through your church, your synagogue, or your mosque, your neighborhood association, your school or service club, or on your own as an individual, I applaud your efforts and I thank you. You make our hometown of Brighton a better place to live every day. 2014 is a time to look back and celebrate 200 years of history, but it's also a time to look forward. And we do so with great optimism that the projects that we will begin and plan this year will be projects that will change the face of Brighton, make us a stronger and more sustainable community with a more attractive and desirable commercial corridor, providing inviting gateways to our neighborhoods. The neighborhoods that are so special and so central to our character as a community. The centerpiece of Brighton's transformation will be our Monroe Avenue Green Infrastructure Project. The project is funded with a state economic development grant of approximately $1.6 million, and it will be underway this year. The project is being designed to make significant improvements to stormwater performance along Monroe Avenue from the 12 Corners to Westfall or Allens Creek Road. The Green Infrastructure Project, though, will not just be a stormwater project. It will also improve the appearance of Monroe Avenue, that entire stretch, by restoring the tree lawn between sidewalk and street as a green visual barrier between street traffic and pedestrian traffic, making walking on Monroe Avenue a realistic option again, and making other visible changes to our streetscape. Finally, it will also highlight Allens Creek and Buckland Creek, both of which cross Monroe Avenue in relative obscurity today. These enhancements will benefit both the nearby neighborhoods and the businesses on the avenue. In preparation for the project, our Volunteer Citizens Committee, town staff, and expert consultants have developed concept plans and have held 2 open houses for the community here in this room. Town staff and community volunteers have even walked the entire stretch of Monroe Avenue, visiting with business owners to share these concepts with them. And I know when some of those business owners had someone from the town stop at their store, they figured they might be in for some trouble. But in this case, the goal was sharing a vision for this project that will transform Monroe Avenue to make business owners, property owners, and residents aware of this exciting project and the potential that the project has to enhance our environment, make Monroe Avenue a more attractive and safer street, strengthen the neighborhoods along Monroe Avenue, and make Monroe Avenue in Brighton a go-to retail destination. We're already hearing from business owners on the west end of Monroe Avenue, hoping that similar improvements can be made at their end of the avenue. And once this project is completed, we will look to obtain grant funding in order to make improvements to that end of the avenue as well. Further east along Monroe Avenue, the State Department of Transportation will construct safety and infrastructure improvements to Monroe Avenue between Westfall Road and Clover Street this summer. That's a stretch of the avenue with high traffic volumes and very real traffic safety concerns. As part of this project, the I-590 interchange will be reconfigured to slow traffic coming off the highway and onto Monroe Avenue. The state will also construct new sidewalks on both sides of Monroe Avenue between Westfall and Clover, improving what has long been one of the most difficult stretches of highway in Brighton for pedestrians. Now, although this is a state project, it will benefit Brighton, both from a safety and a sustainability perspective. And along with the green infrastructure project, I believe these 2 projects will significantly transform the look and the desirability of Monroe Avenue. 2 significant trail projects will also get underway this year, enhancing our active transportation footprint and implementing our bicycle pedestrian master plan. The Highland Crossing Trail is the result of intergovernmental cooperation between the City of Rochester and the town of Brighton. The Highland Crossing Trail was funded primarily through the federal TEP program, and when completed, it will link central Brighton to the Erie Canal Trail and to the Genesee River Trail, making it much easier to bike or walk to the University River campus or to downtown Rochester. Construction will begin this spring, and they hope to complete the project this construction season. The second new trail will run from Elmwood Avenue to Westfall Road, right here across the street, creating a link from Town Hall to Buckland Park and making it easier for families to enjoy the amenities that are offered at Buckland. In 2014, we'll also begin the update of our comprehensive plan. The plan update is a roadmap for town government as we make difficult decisions concerning the potential acquisition of additional open space, identifying possible uses for existing open space, enhancing our infrastructure, particularly our active transportation infrastructure, and consideration of new community facilities. In a world of limited resources, these are difficult decisions indeed. And for that reason, community input into the process is vital. The town has received full funding for the update of the comprehensive plan through a $150,000 grant from the Regional Economic Development Grant Program. That state funding program recognizes that smart planning, sustainable planning, makes for good economic development opportunities scaled to the community. I encourage members of the community to participate in the public process of the development of this update. Once our plan update is completed, I will encourage the town board to take formal action to adopt the plan and to consider implementation of recommendations in the plan, again, particularly those that will promote sustainability in Brighton. That's our best path towards a future. But even as we look forward, it is important to report on the accomplishments of the past year, because they are many, and they do reflect the hard work of town staff and also of community volunteers. There is no more important responsibility for local government officials than public safety. Just last month, the annual report of the Brighton Police Department showed us what we already know. The Brighton Police Department is an outstanding department in every sense of the word. Crime was down significantly in Brighton in 2013 in a variety of different categories. But just as important as these statistics are in evaluating our police department, and they are important, it is also important to examine how our department interacts with the community. In February 2013, Chief Henderson initiated a community engagement initiative for the department. As part of that initiative, Chief Henderson raised expectations for the department, and at every level, the men and women of the Brighton Police Department have responded. Every officer has been directed to step out of their cars and interact with residents and businesses on each shift. They've been directed to conduct traffic enforcement on each shift, helping to keep our streets safe. That's an issue that I hear about day in and day out, and it's an issue that our department is addressing as part of this initiative. This policy, this initiative, enhances the quality of police service in Brighton, and I'm proud to recognize Chief Mark Henderson for his efforts and to salute all of the men and women who serve in our police department. Now, Chief Henderson couldn't be here tonight, but Captain David Cathaldi is here, and he, like everyone, is committed to that policy. I do also want to note that Chief Henderson has also been instrumental in working to address issues of fair treatment to all members of the community, and has been willing time after time to join me to meet with community and neighborhood groups, to open lines of communication and share advice in addressing public safety concerns. Also, as part of our community outreach, we're conducting our second community Citizens Police Academy, teaching residents about the department and about the criminal justice system. I also want to acknowledge all of the public safety agencies that serve Brighton. Each of those agencies now serving the town, the Brighton Police Department, but also the Brighton Fire Department, the Rochester Fire Department, and Brighton Volunteer Ambulance, provide valuable and cost-effective services to the community. Together, they provide prompt responses and caring service, making Brighton a safer place to live, work, or just to visit. Maintaining Brighton's financial strength and stability in the face of challenges large and small remains a top priority for all of us. Facing yet another year of double-digit increases in health insurance premiums, and despite efforts to convert as many of our employees as possible to more cost-effective but still comprehensive health insurance plans, Brighton's 2014 budget stayed under the state tax cap yet again, with a tax rate increase of only 1.77%. It's a lot of reasons for that. One are the members of our Brighton Budget Review Task Force, who reviewed capital and budget requests as an integral part of the budget development process. Again, these are some of those people that give of their time and talent, and I thank each of them for doing so. I'm proud to work with the budget development staff that has proven themselves to be second to none. Our budget director, Andrew Robinson, and our finance director, Suzanne Zaso. You share my commitment to an open and transparent budget development process, and your willingness to work as hard as it takes helped us complete and approve our budget, our balanced budget, below the tax cap again this year. I must also note that our town board again approved our 2014 budget prior to the November elections, so that the residents of Brighton could make informed decisions based on that budget when they go to the polls. There's been much discussion about Governor Cuomo's proposed tax freeze and circuit breaker. Under his proposed plan, taxpayers would qualify for a tax rebate check only if their community stays below the tax cap in the first year, and in later years, only if they also demonstrate savings from consolidation of services. Now, it's important to note that the town of Brighton has long been committed to working in collaboration with other municipalities and school districts. Just a few of the examples are our lease agreement with the Brighton Central School District to lease the former Brookside School for our Parks and Recreation departments, our participation in NYMIR, the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, which has members of governments of all types throughout the state, reducing insurance premiums and ensuring that insurance is available. We also have road plowing and maintenance agreements with the town of Pittsford, the county, and the state. And I've mentioned the state a number of times here. I want to acknowledge Senator Robach and Assembly Majority Leader Moehle are in Albany. They're doing that hard work on the state budget right now. But I do want to acknowledge Ashley Pallo from Senator Robach's office. Thank you, Ashley, for being here tonight, and please send our thanks and regards to the senator. I also want to stress the stalwart connection that we have with the Brighton Central School District under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Kevin McGowan. Thanks to the strong lines of communication between the town and the school district, Dr. McGowan and I will continue to work to develop new collaborative approaches to improve our services and facilities for the benefit of our students and our taxpayers. Kevin, I appreciate your willingness to work with me to achieve these shared goals. Thank you very much. The town board and I will continue to seek new ways to save taxpayer dollars, and we will review the governor's budget proposal. We'll work with the State Association of Towns, the Monroe County Council of Government, to make sure that our taxpayers receive the full benefits of any program that is adopted. On a related note, I've met with the new leadership of the Brighton Chamber of Commerce about new approaches to collaboration between town government and the Chamber. We share common interests in enhancing the appearance of Monroe Avenue and the 12 Corners, improving property values in Brighton, and in getting out the message about Brighton as a convenient and quality place to shop, dine, and conduct a whole variety of services. To that end, we plan to explore economic development measures that will strengthen the business environment in Brighton, consistent with a neighborhood-scale business community that we've grown to know and love. When we have high-quality, unique, local businesses on Monroe Avenue, we make our business stronger, but we also enhance the surrounding neighborhoods, where people can live close to the shops and services that mean the most to them. Last year, I spoke about our efforts to protect our tax base as we fight to keep taxes in check in the face of cost increases. Our agreements with Empire State College and the University of Rochester that we discussed last year are the start of that effort. As large not-for-profit agencies in Brighton bring development proposals to us, we will reach out to them to reach agreements to make payments in lieu of taxes, to ensure that we can continue to maintain and enhance our quality local services. Again, as the state considers budgetary and fiscal issues, we call on the state to enact tax reform legislation to eliminate the unwarranted tax break for condominium developers, thereby improving tax fairness for all taxpayers in New York. I also urge commuter reform to ensure that tax subsidies go only to projects that provide true net economic development impacts and new jobs paying prevailing wages. New development proposals in Brighton do provide the opportunity to enhance our tax base, but those benefits can be elusive if commuter tax subsidies, granted by an appointed board without local government approval or consent, undermine tax revenues for our town and for our school districts. We will continue to conduct thorough environmental review of all new development proposals, and we understand that well-planned projects provide benefits to the community beyond tax revenues. We will continue to use incentive zoning where appropriate to customize development to best meet community needs and offset impacts with community amenities. In particular, We will expect new incentive zoning projects to make mutually agreeable arrangements with our GRTA for bus service to minimize the traffic generation impacts of new development and to enhance bus service throughout the town of Brighton. From the many telephone calls and emails I receive praising our highway, sewer, and public works staff, and the calls that I get with concerns maybe about a dead tree or a cracked sidewalk, a pothole, a lot of potholes this time of year, there can be no doubt that maintaining high-quality infrastructure in the town of Brighton is vitally important to our quality of life. Infrastructure maintenance and construction is an important and large part of our budget. This year's extreme winter weather puts additional strain on our infrastructure obligations and, yes, on our budget. We do plan for this work each year, and even though the short-term demands of a winter like this one may be greater this year than usual, our annual work on sewers, on highways, on our sidewalks, services like our lawn and garden debris pickup will not be curtailed. I do commend the leadership of Commissioner of Public Works, Tim Keefe, and your entire team here in Town Hall, down at the Operations Center, and at our other facilities for the work that you do and your team does to maintain our infrastructure, evaluate development proposals, and interact with the community. Maybe most importantly, interact with the community every day. People that come into the counter with questions, with proposals about issues that affect neighborhood quality of life. Now this morning I woke up and had the opportunity, drove in after 16, 18, 20 inches of snow. And I have to commend not only Tim, but I really want to personally commend each of the men and women that were out working all last night. The condition of the streets and highways, and not just the main arterials, but the condition of our neighborhood streets throughout the community was simply extraordinary in light of the magnitude of the storm and the wind and the cold temperatures. That's because those men and women in the highway department did work all night, just as they're committed to do every time we have a storm. So I know I speak on behalf of the entire town board and the entire community when I thank each and every one of you for the service that you gave us last night. Last January, we completed our bicycle pedestrian master plan, another public works project. The development of this plan involved extensive public outreach. This year, we'll begin implementation of the plan with the trail projects that I've already mentioned and with Brighton's first bicycle boulevard. The plan will continue to serve as a guide as we sharpen our focus on active transportation, walking and bicycling, as an important part of our overall transportation framework. I have reached out, and I will continue to reach out to our state and federal officials to stress the importance of funding not just highway infrastructure, but active transportation infrastructure, the concept of complete streets, bike lanes and bike trails, pedestrian sidewalks, and the other improvements that make it easier and safer for our residents to stay fit, support our environment, and our local business community. Last year, we conducted a reorganization of our Parks and Recreation Department. We established a Recreation Department led by Becky Cotter and incorporated our Parks operations led by new Park Superintendent Matt Beeman into the Public Works Department. Through this reorganization and the hard work of Matt, Becky, and the entire staff, we were able to cut costs, consolidate some maintenance functions, and still enhance services. Doing more for less is a mantra that many profess in local government, but few achieve. However, I can proudly say that with this reorganization, we have done exactly that for the taxpayers of Brighton. In 2013, we began the successful process of installing online registration for Recreation Department programs, and now more than 50% of registration is made online. We added new programs and maintained favorites like free swim and free skating programs. Our after-school program continues to be state licensed and very popular. The Brighton Farmers Market and the Winter Market support local agriculture and continue to provide year-round access to healthy food and food products at a negligible cost to taxpayers. We're looking at the possibility of expanding the community garden in Buckland Park, giving even more people the opportunity to participate in this very popular effort. And I want to thank Sue Gardner-Smith, who's the director of both the community garden and our Brighton Farmers Market, both the winter market and our outdoor market, for all of your efforts. These are community jewels, and we appreciate all you do to make them possible. The Brighton Memorial Library. When you walk in, the first thing you see is people of all ages reading, using computers or Kindles, getting questions answered by library staff. Walk in a little farther and you see the Library Friends bookstore, the young adult desk, DVDs. You see theme displays, encouraging readers to dig deeper into historic topics. If you go in right now, you'll see a display on Women's Month this March. You might even see contest entries from children. But what you see in every one of these scenes is learning. I appreciate all the work of Jennifer Reese-Taggart, Executive Director of the Brighton Memorial Library, the volunteer members of our library board, led by Chair Linda Rapkin, and the Friends of the Brighton Memorial Library. Together, you've created and maintained an award-winning library for all ages, for all seasons, and for all reasons. Every time I'm in the library, and I am a proud library card holder and member of the Friends, I see more and more reasons why our Brighton Memorial Library has been named the best library in Monroe County. No town in Monroe County has a more active social media presence than the town of Brighton. With the bicentennial celebration, we have further enhanced our presence on Facebook, on Twitter, and now on YouTube, the Brighton channel on YouTube, to better communicate with our residents about upcoming programs or classes, events, or even emergencies like yesterday's winter storm. Again, I encourage all of you to like, follow, or share the Town of Brighton and our special Brighton 200 bicentennial pages on Facebook and on Twitter. Assistant to the Supervisor, Mary Ann Husser, continues to manage our social media presence, and along with Town Historian Mary Jo Lanphier, Mary Ann is our primary staff support for all bicentennial planning and activities. Mary Jo, thank you, and I'm grateful for your work on the bicentennial project. It's much appreciated. Our Brighton Town Court has a history of excellence, and Judge Karen Morris and Judge John Falk, along with the able staff of our town court, ensure a fair day in court for all. They hear a variety of criminal and civil proceedings, all of which are important to the parties before them, and all of which receive their full attention and effort. We're fortunate to have two judges with a broad perspective on life and life experience. They work with the law enforcement community, with lawyers, and most importantly, perhaps, with the parties themselves, to serve justice to a large caseload. I've said it before, and I'll surely say it again. We are fortunate that Judge Morris and Judge Falk sit on the bench in Brighton, and on behalf of everyone that comes in contact with you and your courts, I say thank you for your service. Now, it's ironic that my friend Dan Amon occasionally feels like the invisible man in town government, because he and his office serve the people in Brighton in so many different ways. He serves as the town's record access officer, responsible for compliance with the New York Freedom of Information Act, a particularly important position for a government that prides itself on openness, as we do. Our town clerk's office collects millions of dollars of taxes seamlessly every year, and it issues permits and licenses of many kinds, and recently has added the ability to purchase E-ZPass toll collection systems right here in Town Hall. Dan also uses his years of information technology experience in the private sector to make sure that the town clerk and the town as a whole has cutting-edge computer capabilities. I appreciate immensely the many hats that you wear, Dan, and the many ways that you serve the people of Brighton. Thank you. Each of my colleagues on the town board put in countless hours meeting with community members, holding committee meetings, or working with community groups. We work as a team to answer resident questions or concerns, and your town board members are always available to serve as your voice in town government. Although none of them have a paid staff, they work hard to respond to your needs and residents. And because they're out in the community, listening to your questions and concerns, we're all able to do our jobs more effectively. For your commitment to the Brighton community, I want to thank my colleagues, Jim Vogel, Louisa Novros, Jason DePonzio, and Chris Warner. Obviously, we had to reschedule this meeting from last night. Chris teaches a class on Thursday evenings, but I expect that he will be here before the meeting is over. But I thank each one of you. In 1814, Brighton was a town that stretched from the Genesee River to Irondequoit Bay, from Lake Ontario to what is today Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, and beyond, with a population far less than 3,000. Today, even after several consolidations and annexations, Brighton still stretches from the Genesee River to Tryon Park and includes nearly 37,000 residents who live in diverse neighborhoods, large and small. They live in senior citizen developments, they live in apartments. But all of them, all of you, make up the beautiful fabric that is Brighton. The state of Brighton is strong today. And yes, the state of the town of Brighton is strong today because of you, each one of you that has chosen to make Brighton your hometown. Brighton is strong because you've made it your hometown, and yes, I also believe it's strong because the leaders of this community, whether in local government, education, business, or community organizations, are all committed to Brighton's future. I'm proud to be a part of a community with 200 years of heritage to draw on and a shared vision of a bright future to lead us forward. Thank you all for attending tonight, and thank you for being a part of this great community, our hometown of Brighton.